On Saturday, July 26, 2025, as the second night of the Marshland Festival approached its zenith, the Lake Charles Event Center was filled with excitement and expectation with a buzzing buzz. The air was heavy with the oppressive humidity of Louisiana, the aroma of crawfish boils, and the electric murmur of a crowd that was eagerly anticipating something extraordinary. At 9 o'clock in the evening, the spotlight would be directed onto John Foster, a native of Addis, Louisiana, who had won hearts as the runner-up on American Idol Season 23. Foster reached the age of 19. Having just finished his final performance, Foster was no stranger to performing on large stages, but it was a different experience. This was his home soil, and it was an opportunity to perform his traditional country sound in front of the people who had supported him from the beginning. An overwhelming number of people were crammed inside the event center, which was located at 900 Lakeshore Drive. The Coliseum was packed with fans of all ages, including locals dressed in cowboy boots, families carrying homemade placards, and others from beyond the area who had followed Foster's journey on American Idol. In addition to the headlining performance by Dylan Carmichael, Foster's concert was the highlight of the evening at the Marshland Festival, which is a long-standing event in southwest Louisiana. The festival had already provided a day of music with musicians such as Brooks Drost and Jamie Bergeron. With such a strong lineup, the $20 ticket price seemed like a good deal, and the enthusiasm that was there in the crowd was evidence of this. Foster, who was still a lanky freshman at LSU with a boyish grin, had come a long way since his audition for American Idol. During that audition, he had won over judges Carrie Underwood, Luke Bryan, and Lionel Richie with an acoustic rendition of Conway Twitty's Goodbye Time. Through his voyage on the show, which was highlighted by soulful versions such as Alan Jackson's Don't Rock the Jukebox and his original song, Tell That Angel I Love Her, which he had written for his late friend Maggie Dunn, he had become a well-known figure. After that, he took a big breath and adjusted his black felt hat, which was a tribute to the country music icons that he looked up to. He was standing backstage. It was even louder than the shout of the crowd that he had sang the national anthem for during the Rougarou Games that had taken place in June. The lights in the house were turned down to a low level at 9 o'clock, and the MC could be heard booming out, "Are you all ready for a Louisiana youngster who is taking the country world by storm? For the sake of John Foster, give it up. Addis Pride, and we John," were among the statements that were displayed on homemade placards that were waving in the crowd. With his guitar slung low and his easygoing charm beaming as he tipped his hat, Foster strolled onto the stage ready to perform. The sound of his Cajun drawl elicited plaudits from the audience. "Lake Charles, you all are looking good tonight," he exclaimed. "Do you want to have some fun?" His first performance was of the iconic song Don't Rock the Jukebox by Alan Jackson, which had been a memorable performance on American Idol. The same unfiltered honesty that had gained him a standing ovation from Lionel Richie was conveyed by his voice, which was warm and twangy when it was performed. Foster leaned into the honky-tonk groove that was being set down by the band, which consisted of a tight crew of local players from the area. He strung with confidence. The crowd seemed to be singing along with him, word for word, and their voices blended together in a way that made it feel like they were returning home. Several couples were seen dancing in the aisles, and even children who were sitting on their parents' shoulders were seen swaying to the beat of the music. Next up was Neon Moon, a hit song by Brooks and Dunn that Foster had sung on his local visit to Plaquemine, where he was competing for the Idol competition. The melancholic agony of the song was a perfect match for his voice, which could go from being soft to being forceful in the span of a single breath. While he was singing When the Sun Goes Down on My Side of Town, the crowd held up foam flashlights, transforming the Coliseum into a sea of bright stars. It was moments like this that brought back memories of why Foster loved country music, and he would later remark that his eyes sparkled with excitement. According to what he had posted, "It's storytelling, and Lake Charles told me theirs the other night." At the halfway point of the set, Foster calmed things down with the ballad I Told You So, which was originally performed by Randy Travis and had demonstrated his fragility on American Idol. His performance, which allowed the lyrics to be heard in their entirety. Imagine for a moment that I were to call you up tonight and tell you that I love you. A tribute of his humble beginnings and the people who had influenced him. The emotion was unfiltered and unfiltered. The pride that was felt by a group of friends from Brusley High School who had traveled all the way from Addis was palpable as they wiped away tears within the front row. In the set, there were some covers. The new original song that Foster released was titled Bayou Nights, and it was a love letter to the way of life in Louisiana. It featured words about fireflies, fishing poles, and first kisses by the lake. With the realization that they were seeing the beginning of something significant, the crowd erupted in applause. With a smirk on his face, Foster remarked, "That one's for you all. I will never forget the state that brought me up, and I will never forget it." People were clapping along with the song because of its high speed, and a few festival merchants who were selling boudin and beer couldn't help but join in after hearing it. Foster rocked the house down with his rendition of Tell That Angel I Love Her for his nearest and dearest. This song, which he had written for his buddy Maggie Dunn, who had sadly passed away in a car accident in 2022, became his signature song on American Idol. There was a great deal of veneration among the Lake Charles throng, many of whom had heard about Maggie's story from the local news. The slightest break in Foster's voice indicated the anguish that was underneath the words, but he maintained his composure and poured his heart into each and every word. After he had finished, there was a deafening round of applause, which was a mixture of admiration and empathy. After some time had passed, a supporter said on, "John Foster didn't just sing tonight. He was aware of every sound." Immediately following the performance, Foster remained in the vicinity of the festival's food vendors, where he signed autographs and posed for photographs. He was accompanied by his girlfriend, Brooklyn Bork, who was smiling with happiness as spectators gushed over his performance. "You are the reason I am here," Foster said to a gathering of junior high school students, his modesty coming through. He went so far as to join a handful of his supporters in a brief line dance, laughing as he struggled to perform the movements. At the end of the night, Foster appeared on the show and posted a grainy shot of the audience with the message, "Lake Charles, you're my kind of people. I am grateful to you." Foster's standing as more than just an Idol alum was solidified as a result of the performance. At the age of 19, he had become a voice for his generation, using a combination of traditional country music and a contemporary edge that resonated with people of all ages. Newspapers in the area, such as The Advocate, referred to it as a homecoming triumph, and the internet was ablaze with videos of his performance, which amassed thousands of views. According to Gator 99.5, the festival attracted one of the largest crowds it has ever seen, and Foster's performance was the highlight of the event. Against the backdrop of the night sky, the neon lights of Lake Charles shone brightly as the event center was being cleared out. Despite the fact that he was still buzzing from the performance, Foster sat backstage with his band and began discussing his upcoming appearance at the Grand Ole Opry, which will take place in August. For the time being, however, he was nothing more than a young man from Louisiana who had given his all to his people, and they had returned the favor.